the number of counties, and today we will have the Member of Parliament of Mwingi Central who is making these proposals, and we will be speaking to him about that when Parliament reconvenes next month. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to that top story we've been talking about, and we're starting off with news coming from Sekuru in Mwingi. The Mwingi Central MP Joe Mutambu has triggered a hot debate by saying a bill proposing to have the number of counties reduced from 47 to 9 is ready and will be tabled when Parliament reopens. The argument has been that the county governments are too many and are gobbling up too much of the taxpayers' money. The details of the proposed bill will be revealed to us shortly as we speak to him, like we had promised you. Now, that proposed bill has triggered fiery reactions from a section of senators and one of the members of the now defunct committee of experts. Samagina has those details.
From adversarial street protests over counties' tax levies to claims of opulence by governors at the expense of development, county governments face a real survival test barely a year into existence. The proposal by Mwingi Central MP Joe Mutambu in Sekuru is likely to prove explosive, and his proposed bill to cut counties from 47 to only 9 is bound to trigger a fiery debate on the floor of the National Assembly and beyond. But those charged with the duty to protect the 47 counties have already reacted.
The number that was finally accepted by the Committee of Experts, which is 47 counties, in our view was too big, too large, and was not going to make it possible for the counties as they exist today, many of them, to be self-sustaining entities.
Any discussion about interfering with the structure, the composition, the functioning of counties is uncalled for, it is unacceptable, it is anti-devolution.
We as the Senate do not believe that we can start now interfering with the 47 counties that were established by the Constitution in 2010. We believe that it is too early now.
The drafters of the Constitution have dismissed the proposal to cut down the number of counties as retrogressive, poised to revive the centralized system of government. The vice chair of the now defunct Committee of Experts says the move is centered on Parliament's egocentrism.
We can argue about efficiency and making the system more efficient, but this whole idea that let's throw this out for institutions that are not even a year old is extremely selfish.
Joe Mutambu and those who support him are pegging the affront on counties to austerity measures, claiming counties are becoming expensive to maintain and alleged extravagance of governors.
I think there is some merit in what the member for Mwingi is saying in terms of reducing the number of counties.
An attack on devolution is actually an attack on the right of citizens to participate in the governance and decision-making processes.
To alter county boundaries, Section 188 of the Constitution stipulates that Parliament needs to set up an independent commission whose recommendations conveyed to Parliament be rubber-stamped by at least 2/3 of both the National Assembly and the Senate. Equally, the delimitation exercise is hinged on population density and demographic trends, physical and human infrastructure, historical and cultural ties, the cost of administration, the views of communities affected, and geographical features as parameters for tinkering boundaries.
We have the 47 counties because the same parliamentarians in 2010 did not bother to listen to the Interim Independent Boundaries Commission.
The fate of devolution is now tied on Parliament's resumption on the 11th of February, when Mutambu says he will table the bill. Samogina, KTN.
Right now, before we even consider the merits of the proposal to reduce the number of counties, this might perhaps be a good time to take a look at the road to devolution. How did we get here? Well, according to the report by the Committee of Experts, which was responsible for putting together the constitution we have now, many considerations were made. Now, they had to take into consideration many of the contentious issues that existed in the Bomas draft that flopped in the 2005 referendum. First off was the number of devolved units which we're discussing today. Now, they initially considered using the districts as were constituted at that time. The number was a challenge with 250 districts existing at that time. It was agreed, however, that these were way too many and that there would be a costly replication of organs and institutions of government. Besides, there was also the controversy surrounding the number of districts that were created in 1992, and with the High Court's decision that districts that were created in 1992 were unlawful, they quickly abandoned this proposal and stuck with the original number of districts as at 79, which is definitely much smaller than that number of 250 and definitely more manageable. Okay, even this was too large and they eventually settled at the number 47. How did they do this? This was the original number of districts that were created at the time of independence. Now, the Constitution was eventually passed in 2010, as we all know, and devolution became a reality after the March 4th, 2013 election. And with the counties came the challenges that are now threatening to explode. Now, no sooner had the county assemblies and county executive committees been established than the issue of money came up. This time it was over their salaries. The MCAs, as we may all remember, wanted higher pay, saying that their salaries were not in tandem with their job description. They went on strike, others went on a go-slow, effectively crippling the work of counties as the county finance bills were up for discussion at the time. An agreement has since been reached, but they are still not happy with their new perks. On average, an MCA will now take home at least 293,000 shillings, up from 105. Next came the challenges to raise funds to run the 47 counties. In the last few weeks, there have been riots in various counties over what some have called ridiculous taxes introduced by counties to raise the much-needed finances. Then accusations came that the governors had misused the funds that were allocated to them last year on foreign trips and pay perks. The governors in general have refuted the claims of misuse of funds in the report that was released recently by the Auditor General. The new battle in the counties now is not about money. It pits the governors against the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. The commission says it has begun an audit of all jobs at the counties to ensure that at least 30% of the jobs go to minority groups in the counties. That is, persons with disability, women, and smaller communities as well. Isaac Ruto, the Bomet governor and chair of the Governor's Council, has said that this is impractical. He says that some counties are monoethnic and those surrounding them are bound to have people from the same community. And he raises the question, what if people from the minority groups do not apply? Should they then leave those positions vacant? Well, of course, this means that it's time for the country to master the devolution process. The big question, though, is will these problems be solved by simply reducing the number of counties? That is what my